At this moment, I'm gonna ask you if you could just please finish the task that you're doing, log off, and just close your Chromebook, please. We're gonna start math. So we'll go ahead and take 10 seconds to do that, please. 10, 9, 8, excellent. This table's already there. 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3, 2 and 1, and 0. How do you guys do? Awesome. Okay, my name is Mr. Chavez, and I asked Mr. Rios if I could come in and teach a lesson, a math lesson, because I really love math, and part of my job is to help teachers and to help students. So one of the things that I want to do today is I want to spend an hour doing a math lesson that's going to involve you really thinking and applying what you know, okay? So again, my name is Mr. Chavez, and I used to teach a long time ago. I used to teach 7th graders, all right? And I'm going to ask you guys to please don't ever become 7th graders. I'm joking, okay? So you guys look like an awesome class. So what I'm going to do is, there's a lot of things around the class that we're going to be doing that maybe it's not the same the way you did it with Mr. Rios, but that's okay. I promise you, it will be fun, it will be engaging, okay? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to read the objective. It's right up here. It says, I will, what's that third word right here?
Use.
Ooh, excellent. Let's read this together. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I will use a strategy called partial quotient to solve math problems.
Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to look at that one more time and read it silently. Give me a thumbs up when you're done reading. Excellent. Now what I want you to do is I want you, in your own words, go ahead, hands down, is think about what is it that we're going to be learning today. Okay, in your own words, okay? Please don't say, I'm gonna learn a strategy called partial quotients to solve math problems. That's not putting it in my own words, right? I want you to think about what it is that we're going to be learning today. Think about it for a second in your own words. Good, I like how some of you are looking up, thinking, this is what we're gonna be doing today. And if you're like me, you probably need to read it one more time. So I'm gonna be quiet so you can read it one more time and think, what is it that we're going to be learning today? What we're going to do is we're not going to share out to the whole class. What we're going to do is we're going to share with our partners. If you look at your table, some of you have a letter A, some of you have a letter B. You all see your letters? All of you have. So what I want you to do is if you are a letter A, if you have a letter A on your desk, just raise your hand like this. Raise your hand this way and eyes over here. So letter A's, you're going to turn to the people right next to you, which are letter B's, and you're going to talk to them. So letter A, you're going to talk to this. Letter A over here, you're going to talk to them. You're going to talk to them, right? So let me see. Letter A's, point to who you're going to talk to. Let me see. Good, good, good. All right. Excellent. Now, if I could just borrow your chair really quick. So when I share with someone, I want you guys to look. You know, I really like how over here, they turned their whole body to come look at me. Did you see how they did that? That was excellent, right? So what that tells me is they're looking at me and they're paying attention, right? So when you talk to someone, like let's say I want to talk to you, what's your name? Aixa. If I'm talking to you and I'm talking to you like this, are you going to be able to hear me? You're not going to understand what I have to say, right? So it's important that when you talk to your partner, you turn around and if you're facing this way, I'm going to turn to my partner and I'm going to make eye contact with my partner and talk to her. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when I say A turn to B or B turn to A, I want to see you guys turn to each other and be looking at each other like this. And then when I say we're done, then you go ahead and turn back. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Can we practice that?
Yes.
Let's see. Partner A's turn to B's, B's turn to A's. Let's see. Excellent, excellent. Man, you guys are awesome. We're doing it here. We're doing it here. And then remember, Sago, I took your chair, right? But I told you you're going to be with that group, right? Look at that poor Sago. I took his chair. He's over here. Thank you, sir. Okay, so now go ahead and go back. Let's see. Excellent. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. The question that we had asked is, we read the objective, and the objective says, I will use a strategy called partial quotient to solve math problems. Okay? What does that mean in your own words? Okay? So letter A's, you are going to tell your partner, B, what it is that we're learning today, in your own words. Okay? If you can't say it in your own words, then it's okay to read it. Sound good? So you're gonna say, today I will learn, repeat after me, today I will learn, and then you're gonna tell your partner that. So letter A's, raise your hand. Excellent. Turn over to letter B and say, today I will learn.
Today I will learn.
Go ahead, go, share. We have 8 seconds.
Strategies to do math problems. Today I will learn.
3, 2, 1. If you can hear me, I have 2 times. Okay, I heard some talking. I didn't get a chance to come over here and hear this side, but what I want to make sure is, if you're not sure what it is we're learning today, it's okay to read the objective, okay? But what I want is, I want you to say in your own words, today I will learn, and in your own words what we're going to learn, okay? So B's, raise your hand, letter B's. It is your turn, letter B's, to turn to letter A's and tell them, today I will learn, okay? Turn, and then you say, today I will learn.
Today I will learn.
Go, tell them what you're going to learn.
To use a strategy called partial quotients to solve math problems.
Back to me in 3, in 2, in 1, in 0. If you can hear me, say scorpions.
Scorpions.
Oh, come on, if you can hear me, say scorpions.
Scorpions.
Excellent. So what I'm going to do is, Mr. Rios, do you normally have, like on Class Dojo, like a random selector, or
Yes.
having you randomly select? So what I'm going to do is, while Mr. Rios pulls that up, I randomly select students to share what it is we're going to learn today, okay? What I'm going to do is, I'm going to take a volunteer from this table right now, someone that's really brave, that wants a Class Dojo point, and then I'm going to take a volunteer from over here. What is it that we're going to learn, okay? So let's see. If I have a volunteer over here, what's your name? Carlos, what is it we're going to learn today? To solve math problems, okay. And then over here, someone from this table. Ooh, I like how you're really attentive. Today I will learn. Ooh, I like how you added all kinds of different problems, right? Thank you very much. Now what I want to do is I want to say thank you to them. The way we're going to say thank you to them is like this. Look, we're going to go aplauso, aplauso, and we're going to go whoosh, like that to them, okay? Ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Aplauso, aplauso, whoosh. All right. Now, I have the objective up here as well, okay? Now we're going to do an activity right now that's called a cognitive content dictionary, okay? What I'm going to do is I want you to look at me over here, and you see where I'm standing right here? I'm facing that wall right there that says cognitive content dictionary. And I want another student here. I want another student here. One here, all the way around here, right? These are all students right here. Now, do I care who is in what position? No. But we are in what's called a semicircle all the way around. And guess who's going to be right here in the middle?
You.
Me, Mr. Chavez, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to get up here. I don't want people running. I know that you're going to respectfully get up, push in your chair, not yet. And then you're going to come over here and you're going to solve your own problems. If people are in front of you, then I think you can figure out how to get in a semicircle. You think we can do that?
Yeah.
Okay, we have 10 seconds. Ready, set, go. 10, 6, 5, 4, 3. I like how they're solving the problem over here. 2, 1. Thank you for letting them in there. Excellent. We have a scholar over here looking for a place. I think you're fine right there. You can see pretty good right there. No? You're good right there? Excellent. We have another scholar over here that might want to sneak in. Are you okay back there? Okay. That's perfect. So what we're going to do, the reason I want you up here is because I want us to put our thinking caps on, and I'm going to put a word up here that we just read in our objective, and the word is partial quotient. So I'm going to write it here, partial quotient. So what I want from you is I want you to raise your hand if you have heard of this word or if you kind of have an idea of what it means. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got about 5 students that have heard it. And so that means that we have about 22 that haven't heard it. And that's okay. That's what I'm going to show you today what it means. Now what I want you to do is I want you to think about, read the word here, it's partial. Repeat after me.
Partial quotient.
I want you to think about, predict, what do you think partial quotient means? Okay, what does it sound like to you? If you were to take an educated guess, what do you think partial quotient means? What do you predict it means? Now, I'm not going to call on people to raise their hand. What I'm going to do is I have my back to you because I trust you. I want you to just tell me, name out what you think it means, okay? And I'm just going to write down what you're saying. You got it? Okay. Predictions, what do you think it means?
More than one.
More than one? Okay. Keep going.
Digit number.
Okay.
Strategy. Division. Multiplication. 100,000. Addition. Subtraction. Addition.
You guys are wonderful. Okay. So what I'll do is, I'm running out of space, right? Mr. Chavez is going, like, I'm kind of tall, so it's kind of hard for me to write down there, so I'll leave it right there. So we have some people that are predicting that partial quotient means more than one, a digit, a number, math, strategies, multiplication. And I like how you're using your brain to kind of figure out what this word means, right? Like partial or more than one or a digit, number. You're using your brain to kind of figure out what that word means, right? Sometimes we're going to encounter words, we don't know what they mean, but we figure it out, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a real basic definition, and what we're going to do is we're going to act it out, okay? So the definition that I like to use for partial quotient is using multiplication to solve division problems. Okay, read after me. Using multiplication to solve division problems. So partial quotient means that we're going to use multiplication to solve division. That's all it really means, is we're going to work backwards to solve division problems. Now, the way, whenever I say, throughout today, for the next hour, I'm going to say partial quotient, and I want you guys, so I'm going to say it like this. If you can hear me say partial quotient, everyone's going to say partial quotient, and then you're going to say using multiplication to solve division problems. Now, I want you to think about, why did I do that? So we're using multiplication, that looks like a multiplication sign, right? To solve, right? This is kind of like we're solving, we're working, right? To solve division. Now, why am I going like this for division? I'm dividing, right? Like a big old number, and I'm cutting it and dividing it into pieces, right? All right. So now, what I want to do is, let's practice it together. If you can hear me, say partial quotient. Using multiplication to solve division problems. Easy, right? Okay, now if you don't remember, you can always look up here, and then you can look at your friends that are doing it, but we're gonna do this over and over again. I promise you, you won't have to look up here anymore, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a little sketch here of what that means, and then we're gonna get into it a little bit. So the problem or the example I'm going to do is a real basic example. 6 divided by 2 equals something, okay? Now 6 divided by 2, I think some of you already like, oh, I know how to do that, right? But see, here's the thing, is I don't want you to use it the normal way. I want you to use it using the partial quotient. Partial quotient says we're gonna solve this using what? Multiplication. So how can I do that using multiplication? I take that 2 and I say 2 times something is equal to 6. 2 times what is equal equal to 6, guys?
3.
Thank you. So that 3 is our answer, right? So we used multiplication to solve a division problem. Easy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. What we're going to do at this moment is we're going to go back to our tables, but not yet. When we get there, I'm going to practice this with you, okay? Can we get back to our seats in 10 seconds?
Yeah.
All right, let's try it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Excellent over here. 2, 1. If you can hear me say partial quotient.
Partial quotient.
Using
Multiplication to solve division
problems. You guys are awesome. Look at that. And you know what I really like is I'm over here now, and look, you notice how all of them turned around and are looking at me over here. That was pretty awesome, huh? That tells you guys are ready to learn and ready to go to the next step, okay? So now, what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called a number sense activity. And I'm going to stop this for a second. I'm going to put 8 minutes up so that I don't go beyond. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to look over here for a second, okay? And I want you to look at this. Obviously, it looks like a big cup, but it's actually a quarter of a cup. And you see what's in here? These are called almonds, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to use your brain here and use some strategies to come up with how many almonds do you think are in here? Now, I don't want people shouting 100, 200. No. What I want you to do is I want you to let other people think. Because if you shout out a bunch of answers, you're not letting people think. So I want you to give people the space to think and to use different strategies, okay? So what I want you to do is in your brain think, okay, how many almonds are in the cup? Don't count this one, right? This almond is here so you can kind of get an idea of how big these are, right? They're about the same size. So the question is, how many almonds in the cup? So I'm going to give you a couple seconds to think about this. Use whatever strategy makes sense to you, whatever way you want to guess, but use an educated guess. A scholar says, I'm going to be able to figure out how many are in there by doing this. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to come up with a way of how many, come up with a guess, and how did you come up with that guess, okay? 10 seconds. Love how you guys are being nice and quiet and respectful. Does it turn off or no?
After 5 minutes.
After 5 minutes? Okay. Okay, excellent, you guys. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask for volunteers to, now I'm going to be over here on this side, is I'm going to ask for anyone to give me their guess of how many almonds are in that cup. Okay? Anybody want to be brave over here? Go ahead. 20. Can you tell me, how did you come up with 20? Oh, okay. So that looks like a lot. Why not 100? Oh, okay. So you're thinking maybe it'd be like you kind of say it'd be a bigger bowl, so a small cup can kind of hold 20 in there. Okay. So you're saying 20 fit in a small cup. Very good strategy. Thank you so much for being brave. Who else wants to take a guess here? Go ahead, right over here.
12.
12. Excellent guess. Can you tell me what strategy did you use to come up with 12?
Adding.
Okay. So tell me, what were you thinking about? How did you come up with 12? Did you count them? Did you when you looked at it, what did you see?
I thought it was 12 because it looks like a lot, not enough to be 15.
Okay. So you're thinking, did you count any of them there? Can you show me the ones that you counted? Let me see. Go and get up over here. Show me which ones you counted. Which ones? Point at them. Those right there. Okay, 1. What other one? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So what do you think? 12, 14. 14, what are you thinking? 12? Okay, so maybe you missed a couple because you were kind of far away and you couldn't put your finger on them? Yeah? Okay, so you just kind of went through and then you put your finger on them, right? Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody else want to tell us what their guess is? So how about you go ahead and select somebody that's raising their hand.
18 because now that he was counting them, I was thinking that there should be more in the back. And I'm also thinking that there could be 6 more in the back.
Be more in the back. Okay. So, I'm sorry, what is your name? Lila. So did you hear what Lila said? She said, you know what? I just saw that we counted about 14 right here, right? That were over here in the front. She said there's got to be some in the back that we can't see. So you're thinking how many are in the back? Like about how many are in the back? You have 14 are in the front, that means there's how many in the back? 4 more in the back. So you're saying 14 plus 4 is going to give you? 18. Do you guys see how she came up with that? Lila, can you select someone else that's raising their hand that would like to share their guess? Fernanda, go ahead. You think there's 19? Okay, can you share with me, how did you come up with 19? So Francisco's the one who's in front of you, right? He counted 14 right here in front. So you're saying, kind of like what Layla said, or Lila said, there's 4 in the back. You're thinking how many are in the back? 5. Okay. So kind of like what Layla did. She's saying, okay, we have 14 in the front, and I have 5 in the back. You guys following what she just did? Makes sense, right? Okay. One last one. What's your guess? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead and select someone.
I think there's 20.
20, okay. Can you tell us, how did you come up with that number?
There's 14 in the back. 6 should have up in the back.
Okay, so you're thinking almost the same of what the other 2 students, right? We've got 14 in the front, and then we've got 6 in the back. Excellent guesses. So you said 20. Very nice. You guys ready to see how many are in there?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look here. Let's see what the answer is. It doesn't tell us the answer?
I think we have to count them.
We have to count them? Or let's see. How about I do this video? How many words is it?
26.
Is it 26? Let's see. So we have, count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's count in sevens here. 7, 14, 21, 28. Is it the whole row here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's 28. Wow, that's a lot, huh? Yes, go ahead.
I got it right because I did it the first time.
Oh, you got 28?
Yeah, I had it.
You did? Oh, wow. Oh, you when they were putting them there? Oh, you were just thinking about it? How did you come up with 28?
And I thought it was 14 in the back.
Did you hear his strategy?
Yeah.
He said if you can see 14 in the front, then there must be 14 in the back. Pretty good strategy, right? So now, when we do these activities, it doesn't matter if we get it right or wrong. You know what matters? It matters that you try and that you think about how the next time you can solve the problem. Because let me show you one of the problems that we can do next time, okay? You guys ready to see the next day? Okay, so this is one day. Look at this day. So now we know there's 28 in here. How many do you think are going to be in there? Oh. Pretty cool, right? So now, what you do is you use those strategies that you learned, and now we try to figure out how many will be in there, right? Pretty cool, huh?
30?
Ooh. All right, you guys. So let's see. I want to Let's see if we can remember what we did here. If you can hear me say partial quotient. Partial quotient using multiplication to solve division problems. Remember, if you don't remember what the words, you can look up here. And then you can also look at your partners, okay? Eventually, I'm just gonna say, if you can hear me say partial quotients, then I want you guys to do it on your own. Agreed? Okay, so now what we're gonna do is, I want you to, how can we solve this using multiplication? Okay, I gave you a very simple example like that earlier, 6 divided by 2. Now I want you to think about 8 divided by 2. Most of you already know the answer, but I want you to solve it using multiplication. Agreed? Okay, so I want you to this time now, letter B's. Raise your hand, letter B's. You're gonna turn to letter A's, and I want to see you turn your body, and you're gonna tell your partner, I can solve this using multiplication by, say, I can solve this using multiplication by, ready, set, go.
I can solve this using multiplication
By. Switching it around, you think so? Okay. Let's see, back to me in 3, in 2, in 1. If you can hear me say partial quotient. Using multiplication to solve division problems. Okay, so some of you were kind of, when I was over here, we're kind of struggling with this question. So I'm going to go ahead and put an example up here. 2 times something equals 8. Okay, everybody, what is 2 times what? 4. Okay, so remember, when you have a division problem, you can always flip it and use multiplication to solve it, right? So 2 times 4 is 8, so then we know that 8 divided by 2 is 4. Easy, right? Let's do one more. Here's our next one. 15 divided by 3. So now, this time, who shared right now? B's?
Yeah.
Now this time when I walk around, I want to hear A's talking, okay? How can we solve this using multiplication? A's, raise your hand, please. A's, you're going to say, I can solve this using multiplication by... Agreed? Ready? Turn to your partner, set, go.
I can solve this problem by
Solving it 3 times.
Back to me in 5,
3
in
times
4,
5
in 3, in
equals
2, in 1. If you can hear me say partial quotient.
partial quotient
Using multiplication
to solve division problems.
Okay, so I'm going to call on some people here. If I call on you and you don't know, that's okay. I want you to tell me what your partner told you or what you think we can do to solve this using multiplication. So I'm going to click on a random student here. Let's see who comes up. Carlos, B. Where's Carlos? Carlos, can you tell me what either your partner said or what you told your partner? How can we solve this using multiplication? 3 times blank equals 15. Excellent. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pick another one here. Maximiliano. Where are you at, Maximiliano? Maximiliano, can you tell us what did you and your partner discuss? How can we solve this using multiplication?
We can solve this problem by using partial quotient by switching the numbers and 3 divided by something.
3 divided by something or 3?
Multiply.
3 times or multiplied by something equals 15. Excellent. Thank you, Maximiliano. So Carlos and Maximiliano, we're going to give them an aplauso, aplauso, whoosh. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Aplauso, aplauso, whoosh. So exactly what they said there. 3 times some number is equal to 15. What is that number? 5. Excellent. All right. Here's one that's a little tougher, huh? Oh my gosh. Ooh. So this is what we're going to do. Instead of doing the partner talk, now what I want you to do is, I want you to look at this problem, and I want you to actually solve it, okay? Solve it using multiplication, all right? And some of you are probably like, what? This is kind of hard. I know we can do this together, okay? But this is what we're going to do. We have 2, 4, 6 students right here. You are one group. You guys are gonna, in a minute, you're gonna stand up and you're gonna go on your desk like this and you're gonna get in what's called a huddle. Yeah? Okay? You over here, 2, 4, and 6, including Salvador, same thing. You guys are gonna get like this in your table and you're gonna get in a huddle. Okay? Not yet though. 2, 4, 6. You guys are a group. You're gonna get, in a minute, you're gonna get out of your seats and you're gonna get in a little huddle like this. Okay? And over here, 2, 4, 6. We are going to get up out of our seats and we're gonna get in a little huddle. Okay? All right. So make sure that you guys are in this group, not in that group. Okay? Sound good? Okay. So now the question is, how can we solve 300 divided by 3? How can we solve that problem? Come up with an answer, but using multiplication. In your groups, I'm going to allow you to decide who is going to be the brave one to think about how we're going to solve this using multiplication, okay? So I'm going to walk around, I'm going to give you 10 seconds, okay? In your group, discuss how to solve this using multiplication. Get in your huddles, go ahead and stand up. Ready, steady, 10 seconds, go. 9.
No, it's 30.
Three times 100 equals 300.
Okay, we're sitting down in 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. If you can hear me, say partial quotient.
Partial quotient.
Using
Multiplication
to solve division problems. I really, really love what I just saw right now. I walked around over here to this table, and everybody here was listening, talking, and I came over here, and they were talking about the problem. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Thank you guys. I didn't get a chance. Next time I'll come around over here, but I noticed that there were conversations that were about the problem. Thank you. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to, every one of you has a different color, right? If you have a red color on your table, I'm going to ask you in a minute to stand up. And I want you to share with us what was it that your group discussed. If you're not sure, you can ask someone at your table and say, can you help me? Okay? So reds, can you please stand up? We have a red here, a red there, a red there. Again, if you're not sure, you can ask someone at your table to help you, okay? So we're going to start off. I'm going to wait up a sec. Thank you. So we're going to start off over here. What did your group discuss? How can we solve this? You know, can you give me 1 second? I love what you're saying. The only thing, I'm a little distracted right now. So you know why I'm distracted? Some people are talking over here. They're kind of whispering like this. And when you whisper, it kind of distracts me. Alright, so if you can do me a favor, and when other people are talking, just be respectful to them. Agree? I know that you guys are discussing what to say, but let's give her our attention. Can you repeat it one more time? Excellent. Go ahead and have a seat. Next group.
We discussed that we will divide, it's like rule times 3 times y equals would give us 300, and the answer that we got was 100.
Okay, excellent. Have a seat. Come over here.
We did 3 times y equals 300, and the blank space was 100, so it would be 3 times 100 equals 300.
Excellent. Thank you. Have a seat. Go ahead. And those 2 digits were the 2 zeros. Excellent. Go ahead and have a seat. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're not going to do an aplauso, aplauso, whoosh right now. It's hard sometimes to get in front of your class and speak, right? Thank you to those 4 people that were brave to speak in your class. And what we're going to do, have you ever had a ketchup bottle that doesn't have ketchup come out? Have you ever done it like this where you hit the ketchup bottle? That's what we're going to do. We're going to do a ketchup applause to those 4 people. Let's go like this. Let's give them a little bit of ketchup, a little bit of ketchup, a little bit of ketchup over there. Excellent. Okay, so now, just like the groups discussed, 3 times something is 300, and we discussed that 3 times 100 is 300. Very nice. And we're not going to do this one in interest of time, but I know you guys can also do that one, right? Okay, so I want you to look at this picture for a sec. What do we know about lacrosse? I want you to look at it, and I don't want you to speak out right now, but I want you to look at these pictures. This is lacrosse. And I want you to think about what it is that you know about lacrosse. And again, in your little huddles, I'm gonna have you stand up for about 8 seconds and discuss if you've ever seen lacrosse or what it is that you know about lacrosse. Is it a sport for women, for men? How many people play on each team? Is it a rough sport? Do they run? Do they sit? Anything that you know about lacrosse. Is it indoors? Is it outdoors? Does it look fun? Does it kind of look like another game? Okay? In your groups, your huddles, I'm going to ask you to stand up. So stand up in your huddles. Stand up over here in your huddles. And you're going to say, this is what I know about lacrosse. You have 8 seconds to discuss. Okay, back to me. Go ahead and ask again. 2 in 1. And if you can hear me, say partial quotient.
Partial quotient using multiplication to solve
Division problems. Excellent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly call on a couple students here, and you tell me what your group discussed, okay? Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and select a student here. We have Adrian. Adrian, can you just tell us what you heard your group discuss? Again? Oh my gosh, go ahead, Adrian.
My group discussed that lacrosse is like baseball and football because you throw the ball.
Excellent.
And it's like soccer because instead of kicking the ball, you like throw it in the net.
You throw it in a net, right? Like a net like this, right? Look at that. Did you see that ball almost hit that person right there? Yeah. All right, thank you so much, Adrian, for sharing. Armando. Were you at Armando? Armando, share with us, what did your group discuss about lacrosse? Do you want to ask them? See what they tell you? See? Go ahead and ask them. I'll come back to you right now, okay? Ask your group. So I'm going to go ahead and pick on one more person here. Abraham. Abraham. Okay, Abraham, what I want you to do is I want you to help Armando, and then he's gonna tell us. So what did your group discuss? Listo? Okay, so what do we know about lacrosse? The game is women play lacrosse, right? Excellent, thank you so much. Let's do another catch-up applause to those students that shared out. Excellent. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we are going to read this problem here together, but what we're gonna do is we're not gonna read the entire problem, we're gonna read the first sentence, which means we're gonna get up to this point right here, right? So what is the second word? Can. I love how that whole row there is turning their body over here to read the problem. Okay, everybody's eyes over here too, excellent. So again, we're gonna read up to this point, ready? 1, 2, 3.
And there are 5 players on each lacrosse team.
Stop right there. How many players on our lacrosse team?
5.
5, right? And we just saw a picture of lacrosse, right? So 5 on each team. We're gonna, not yet, we're gonna read up to the next period, which is right over here. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
There are 9 players on a baseball team.
Okay. How many players on a baseball team?
9.
Okay. Next. 1, 2, 3. If
There are 125 people attending camp, how many lacrosse teams can there be?
I want you to read that question, the whole thing to yourself. I'm going to give you 12 seconds to just read it to yourselves, please. Go ahead. Excellent. Okay. Now, so at the end of each table right here and over there, I put some papers that look like this. I want you to just take one and then pass it down. Take one and pass it down for me, please. Salvador, you already have one right here. Excellent. Love how this group is already almost there. Let's see if this group gets there. They're almost there, almost there. Excellent. Yes. I would like you to put your name at the top, please. Thank you, sir, for asking. Now, once you're done putting your name, I want your eyes up here. And the very first question that I have for you is, I don't want you to do the math yet, okay? Let's not worry about the math or about solving the problem. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we're answering the correct question that we're asking. So we have to identify, what do I need to find? Now, if you notice your paper, me, I'm going to use your paper, okay? It says, what do I need to find? What information do I need to use? And how will I use the information? Look, I have the same exact questions right here. And then on the other side, it says solve the problem. I also have that right here. Does that make sense? Exactly what you have right here. Mr. Chavez just put it up, make it a little bigger up here, right? Okay, so what I'm going to have you do is, I want you to think right here. You can use your brains like this, right? What is it that they're asking me to find? If you need to read this question again, what is this question asking you? What is it that they want? Okay, so that is what I want you to think about right now. So put your thinking caps on for a second. And then what you're going to do is, you're going to, in your groups again, you're going to do another huddle. And in your groups, you're going to discuss what is it that they're asking me to find. Does that make sense? Are we solving the problem right now?
No.
No. The only thing we're doing is, what are they asking us to find? Agreed? We're going to have all of 6.5 seconds to do this. So I want you to go ahead and stand up. And in your groups, what are they asking us to find? Ready, set, go. Back to me in 3, in 2, go ahead and have a seat in 1. And if you can hear me say partial quotient. Using multiplication to solve division problems. Excellent. So last time I asked Reds to stand up. This time I'm going to ask Pinks to stand up. And when I ask the Pinks, give me a second. You're just going to share what your table discussed. What was it that this problem is asking us to find? Agreed? If you don't know, that's okay. You can ask someone in your huddle group to help you. Okay? So Pinks, go ahead and stand up. So Pinks, we're going to start over here, all the way over there with Lila. You know why I'm thinking Layla? Lila, what did your team discuss? What do I need to find?
Well, in there they have something that we don't need, which is the baseball team.
Okay.
But they're only asking about lacrosse. If they had 125 people that were attending lacrosse, it was asking how many teams will there be.
Okay, so now there was a couple things that I liked what Lila said. She said there's some information in there that we don't need, right? Now if you notice down here, that's actually the second question. So I'm gonna put it down there. Some information, what did you say, what's the information we don't need?
The baseball.
So we don't need the information on baseball. I'm glad you caught that because I just snuck that in there just to see if you guys were paying attention. So thank you for catching that. But now, what was it that you said that you need to find? What are they asking you to find?
How many teams will there be in lacrosse if there were 125 people?
How many teams?
Teams.
Teams, and I'm going to put in parentheses lacrosse, right? Now, Mr. Chavez has a hard time spelling here, so it's double S, right? Okay. How many lacrosse teams, right? Okay. Go ahead and have a seat. What is it that your group discussed? What is it that we're trying to find?
My group discussed that how many lacrosse can be there?
How many? I'm sorry.
How many lacrosse teams can there be?
How many lacrosse teams can there be where? Be there? Where's there at? At what? At camp, right? So I'm going to put in parentheses camp. Excellent, thank you. Go ahead and have a seat. This over here, what did your team discuss? What is?
team discussed if there were 125 people attending that, how many lacrosse teams can there be?
Okay, so very similar to what the other group said, right? So I'm just gonna put a little check mark right there that you guys agree with them. Thank you, sir. Go ahead, have a seat. And what did your team discuss? What is it that you need to find? Do you want to ask for help? No? Okay. So what is it that your team told you what we need to find? Somebody from the team, you want to just help them out for a second? You want to huddle over there for a second? Yeah? Okay. So she's going to help you out. Can you tell them what it is that your team discussed that we need to find? Excellent. Thank you for doing that. I love how you guys help each other, right? Because sometimes we need that little extra help like that. Okay, help me out. So what is it that we need to find? Perfect. So how many of the cross teams can there be? Kind of like what the first group said. Excellent. Thank you for doing that. And again, thank you for helping them out, okay? We are here in this classroom like a family. So it's okay for us to help each other out, right? How many of you here have brothers or sisters or cousins or, you know, family, right? Don't you guys help each other out? Besides fighting, you guys also help each other out, right? Okay, that's it. So that's what I want you guys to be able to do is say, you know what? If someone needs help, it's okay to help them, right? We're here to help each other out. We're here to learn. Okay? So excellent. So now what I want you to do is I want you to select one of these that you're going to write down on the left side there where it says, what do I need to find? You can write it in your own words or you can write one of the ones that I wrote. Up there, what is it that it's asking us to find? Now I'm going to give you all of 10 seconds to do that. In 10, doesn't mean that you're talking. In 9, in 8, in 7, in 6, in 5, in 4, 3, in 2, in 1. When you're done, go ahead and put your pencil down. Love how you did that. Good. Over here, we're ready. Good. If you can hear me say partial quotient. Partial quotient. Using multiplication to solve division problems. Okay, so now the next question is, what information do I need to use? Now, I loved how Layla and her team discussed what information they don't need to use, right? So we already know that we don't need to use the information on baseball. But what information do we need to use is now my next question. So you're going to get in your huddles again. And in your huddles, I want someone new in your huddles to speak. So someone that hasn't spoken in your huddles, I would like you to start off with that person. And you're going to start off by saying, I think the information we need to use is... I think the information we need to use is... Okay, so go ahead and get in your huddles.
Everyone can share.
Let's go.
No, what? You already shared. Armando. I have it. But he hasn't, or he. No, what information do I need? So there's 125. No, there's 100.
What numbers do we need? Okay, back to our seats in 3, 2, 1. Hear me say partial quotient. Partial quotient. Using multiplication to solve division problems. Mr. Chavez got a little tied up, huh? Excellent. So notice that time I didn't say anything, I just did motions and you guys did it on your own. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call on not everyone. Now I'm just going to call on this side of the table. Just the, let's see, we're going to go with, we haven't called on the Blues yet, right? So Blues, I want you to go ahead and stand up over here. Blues, go ahead and stand up. What information do we need to use? Again, decide if you could just hold on a second. Blues, if you need help, you can ask your team what information that do we need to use. So we'll go ahead and start off with you. Okay, so we need 5 players. 5 players on the lacrosse team. Okay. Thank you so much. Next one. We need 125 people. I'm sorry, 125 people attending camp. Thank you so much. Go ahead and have a seat. Awesome job. Over here, do we need any other information from there? Anything else? I think that's all we really need, right? We already said we don't need information on baseball, right? So we don't have to worry about that. So just these two things. Okay. The last one is how will I use that information? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skip that question. I think you guys can figure that one out. But what I'm gonna do is I wanna make sure that you guys write down information that we need to use. Okay, so on your graphic organizer, I want you to write down the key information that we need to use. And again, 10 seconds to do it. Ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Love how. Those of you that are already finishing up, you go ahead and put your pencil down. Thank you. 2, 1. Excellent. Bless you. So now the final step is I'm going to have you work in your teams, in your same huddles, and you're going to solve this problem, okay? Now, you can solve the problem any way you want. You can use multiplication, you can use division, you can use pictures, anything that makes sense to you. You are not going to get up in your huddle, but you're going to work with those same 6 people that you've been working with. Agreed? And if you need help, if someone in your family needs help, are you going to help them?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put a timer up. I'm going to give you 1 minute and 20 seconds to work. And I want you to work in your families, in your groups, to solve that problem. Now you're going to solve it on the right side over here. Use the information that you know to solve what they're asking you to find, right? They're asking us to find something. Here's the information. Now solve it. Agreed? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1 minute and 20 seconds. You can begin now. Go.
Okay. We're going to do it now.
So it's 5 something. So then it's 25.
Five times 5 equals 25.
So this could be 100, and then that could be
125. So it's 25.
and then there's 25 cents. But then when you think of nickels, which is 5, and it takes 20 nickels to make $1. So I'll put 20. I think.
So 5 times 20 is 100. Then 5
nickels to make $1, and then
I like how some of you are already using, kind of working backwards, right? Using multiplication there. So when you think about, if you think you have the solution, I want you to circle the answer and tell me what that number means. So you said 5 times what? Is that 25 equals, should equal something, should equal what? It should equal how many people? 125, right? Okay. So then I want you to think about, they're asking us to solve how many teams are there. So how many teams are there?
25.
Okay, I want you to put that on there. However many teams there are. Okay, if you can hear me say, partial quotient. I didn't do it that time, huh? Let's see. Let's try one more time. You can hear me say partial quotient.
Partial quotient using multiplication to solve division problems.
Excellent. Now, when I walked around the room, I noticed a lot of different strategies. Some people were using money. Other people were using multiplication. Other people were using division. And you know what I say is it doesn't matter what strategy you use as long as you use a strategy that makes sense to you. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you how to solve this problem using partial quotient. If you want to copy it the way I do it, great. I suggest you do it because we're going to do a couple more problems like this, okay? So now I noticed some of the groups did this, okay? They said, okay, we have 125 people attending, so that must be that we're doing 125 people divided by what? 5, right? Equals something. And then all of a sudden I'm like, people were like, oh, how do I solve that? And I loved how you guys were using strategies to solve it, right? So what I would normally do is we take this 5 here, right? And we say 5 times something equals 125, right? Now, I'm going to show you a way that makes sense to me. I like to multiply in tens. Can you think about why I like to multiply in tens? Because it's super easy, right? Anytime when you multiply by a 10, what do you do to the number? You add a 0. So for example, 5 times 10 is 50. So I'm going to do that. I like to do, Mr. Chavez is kind of lazy, so I'm going to always multiply by 10 because I know that I don't really have to do much work in my head, right? Because 5 times 10 equals 50. Is that 125 yet? No. So I think I need to multiply some more. I'm going to do again. 5 times 10 equals another 50. So now I know 50 and 50 gives me 100. I'm still not at 125. But Mr. Chavez is kind of thinking like I'm still off by about 25, right? Does that make sense? So now I'm going to do 5 times another number is going to give me 25. So now, check this out. All of these numbers here, 10 plus 10 is 20, plus 5 is 5 times 25 equals 125. So our answer is 25 what? Teens. Oh my gosh. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Right? Okay. So now, what I want you to do is, I want you to see if, I know that some of you already solved this problem, but what I want you to do is I want you to copy it the way I did. Okay? So go ahead and put the 5 times, and then put your little space there, put equals 125, and then I want you to make sense of how I solved it. Okay? Go ahead and do that for me, please. Oh yes, thank you. And when you're done, I want you to just put your pencil down, and then I want you to take out your book. Thank you, Salvador is already ready over here. Salvador, I want you to go to page 75, or 175, sorry. So when you're ready, I want you to take out your math book and go to page 175, please. Excellent. I see about half of the people over here are there. Very nice. Another you can hear me say partial quotient.
Partial quotient using multiplication to solve division problems.
Excellent. Okay, so we're on page 175. I want you to peek and go back to 173 and look at page 173. Look at that problem right there. That was the problem we just did, right? The lacrosse problem, the 125 divided by 5. You see that? You see the strategy that Mr. Chavez used right now? It's right there on that page, right? Now the reason I didn't show this to you was because I wanted you to try to figure it out and use your brains to try to figure out, and I use my brain and we put our brains together, right? But basically what you see on page 173 is this, what we just did here, okay? Pretty easy. We're gonna do a couple problems like that, so go ahead and flip it over to 175, please. And so on page 175, if you go down to question number 4, you see question number 4 there? Go ahead and put your finger on it, please. Question number 4, it should be that one right there. 198 divided by what number? 9. Okay. I'm going to see, sometimes Mr. Chavez will model it again. Depending on where you're at, I'll let you do it on your own. I think some of you can do this one on your own using this strategy right here. I want to see if you can use the partial quotient to try to solve this one, okay? I'm going to get you started on it. So in your book, I want you to do this. Right below there, say, okay, I'm going to take this 9. So this is kind of like the question mark right here, right? I'm going to take this 9 and I'm going to say 9 times something is going to give me 198, right? Use the strategy that Mr. Chavez did. Mr. Chavez likes to multiply by what? 10. Super easy, right? See if you can do it using tens. Can you guys try it out? I'm going to give you 1 minute and 10 seconds to do so. Go ahead and see if you can solve it right there. 1 minute, 10 seconds. You are working right now. You can, if you need help, you can talk to the person that's right next to you, A's and B's. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1 minute on here. You may begin. Some of you are stuck. I'll give you a little hint. You can do 9 times 10 equals 90. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop this. Now this is the first time we're attempting this, so some of us, it's okay to struggle. So I want you guys to look eyes over here for me, please, for a second. Some of you are working great at it. So what I'm going to do is, I noticed, again, Mr. Chavez likes to multiply by 10. So 9 times 10 equals 90. 90, we're still not at 198, right? So I'm going to try another 10, okay? 9 times another 10 is 90. I know 90 and 90 is 180, right? Because 9 plus 9 is 18, 180. So now I have to think, how much more do I need to get to that? Think about 18 more, right? So 9 times something is going to give me 18. And that's 2. So all I do is say, okay, I'm going to add these up right here. 10 is 20 plus 2 is 22. So 9 times 22 gives me 198. So 198 divided by 9 is, everybody, 22. Pretty easy, right? Now, don't worry, if it doesn't make sense to you right now, we can continue practicing it. This is the first time we see it. This is the strategy called partial quotient, right? We're using multiplication to solve division problems. Make sense now? Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna do is, I ran a little bit beyond my time, but what I wanted to do was practice a couple of these problems with you, have you work together as a team using partial quotient, okay? But what I'll do is I'm gonna stop the lesson right there, and then Mr. Rios will take over tomorrow, and you guys will continue using partial quotient. Sound good? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I want to give everybody a well done. So have you guys ever seen when they cook a hamburger? Okay, so when they put a hamburger on the grill, how does it sound like? Right? And then like, you know, sometimes the chef will actually look at it like this to see if it's done. But they look at the color or they smell it, right? So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go like this. I'm gonna say, okay, put your hamburger on the grill, you're gonna go, and I'm gonna tell you to check it, you're gonna go like this, and you say, not done, not done. Put it back on the grill. Check it, not done. Put it back on the grill. And then when you check it, well done. That means we all did a well done. Okay, let's do it one more time, okay? Put your hamburger on the grill. Check it, not done. Put it back. Check it, not done. Check it. Well done. All right, you guys, awesome. You guys are great. I give a round of applause to everybody.